Hi, I'm Tom Laux. Thank you for joining me. I'm the Communications Director for the City of Marshfield. And this is Connections, and it's already the 21st of October. You believe it? October's almost over, and the snow is soon going to be flying here right in the City of Marshfield. Well, let's talk about what's going to be on this show in Connections. Again, it's a weekly show that I do here right in our studio. Our studio is located Old City Hall, which is City Hall Plaza, room 108, if you'd like to come by sometime. Keep in mind there is a ribbon cutting that is going to take place this Friday, October 25th, 1 p.m. Please join us. And that is for our cougar exhibit at the zoo. So please come by. There'll be cookies and a short presentation. So plan on joining us at 1 o'clock, Wildwood Zoo and Park. Great place to take the kids and family. Open all year. Only a few days are closed, usually on a holiday. But the cougar exhibit's about done. And they're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony again this Friday, October 25th, 1 o'clock. Please join us. And we'll have someone filming that event as well if you can't. So we'll bring it to you on our Marshfield Media Access Station, 991, as well as 989 and sometimes 990. Or catch it on our YouTube or Facebook pages, both on the city and our Marshfield Media Access, which is a division of our communications department. Alrighty, as you can see, I have a newsletter in front of me, and you can pick that up at City Hall or call me, 715-486-2070. If you'd like to be added on to an email distribution list, I can provide that for you. Again, call me, 715-486-2070, or email me, tom.laux, L-O-U-C-K-S, at ci.marshfield.wi.us. All right, well, let's turn right over this show to Public Works Director Dan Kneck.
Each fall we like to take a bus tour of our Public Works projects. We invite the Common Council, staff attends, we open the invitation to citizens who are interested in our Public Works project, and we like to highlight some of the projects we've been working on during this current construction year, as well as projects that have recently been finished, and then projects that are coming up in future years. This past season, or this fall, we had our tour recently and toured about 40 different projects around the city. We had about 18 to 20 people attend the tour, including about a half a dozen citizens who joined us for the tour. And again, we just take a trip around the city and view some of the projects that have been completed and give an idea of what some of the costs were, some of the challenges with the projects, and have an opportunity for questions to be asked about the projects. So a big part of what we tour is of projects from our asphalt paving program. Each year we target about $2 million worth of spending toward asphalt paving projects, and those are basically in two categories. One is called our mill in place projects, which are typically done in our residential areas where existing street would be an asphalt street with ditches, would get new ditching, drain tile, culverts replaced, driveways repaved, and then existing asphalt gets milled or ground up in place. It gets re-leveled, and then new asphalt paved on top of it. So that's about half of our asphalt paving program. The other half of the asphalt paving program has to do with concrete streets, with curb and gutter, where we overlay the poor concrete with a new asphalt surface, generally in the 2-inch thick range. We would also do whatever concrete repairs and utility repairs are needed before we would overlay the street with asphalt. So those are the two components of our asphalt paving program. This year we did about, we had on the list about 3 miles worth of mill and place projects. Just to highlight a couple of them, we did the Hickory Lane and Hickory Court area. This is on the west side of town between Adler Road and Schmidt Street. Estimated cost for this project was about $105,000. Again, it involved reditching on both sides of the street, new driveway culverts, drain tile, some utility repairs as needed, and then repaving the street. Another area that we tackled this year was Fillmore Street between Willow and Weber, and then Weber Avenue between Fillmore and Becker Road. This is just south of the high school. In this case, we had done some of the ditching in this area in previous years and just wrapped up the project with repaving the street. So one of the questions we often get is how do you decide which streets to do and when? And in order to help us assess that, we use a 10-point pavement rating scale. So every 2 years all of our streets are rated on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being a brand new street, 1 being a street that needs total reconstruction. And we target our worst streets for these improvements. The challenge is we have more needs than we have funding available. So once we identify which streets are in need of a new surface and repairs and so forth, we also look at underground utility needs. So if there's a particular need for sewer or water improvements, that might advance a project further up the list. And then we try to spread out the projects around the city so we're not focused all of the resources in one area of the city. And then we also look at, we factor in traffic counts. Busier streets tend to get some higher attention, although we do like to spread it out so we're not just focused on busy streets because there are definite needs in residential neighborhoods as well. So then the projects, usually as soon as the spring weather allows, we get started on projects where we're able to get in, where things have dried up and we have access to those projects. We try to target projects in school areas after school is out, try to get those done before school starts again, and then typically we're working right up to the last days of the fall season to wrap up some of these projects. In fact, in 2019 here with the late spring we did have, the wet season, we had some windstorms to deal with throughout the summer. We're actually behind in what we would like to accomplish this year. It's likely we won't finish all of the projects that were on our original list, so we will be getting notification out to those residents in the next week or two as to which projects will likely not be finished yet this year. As far as what happens during the mill and place street work, there are no detours. Generally, public can travel on these streets. There might be some obstructions during the day, but normally equipment is moved out of the way and you can get back into your driveways at the end of the day or over the evening and weekend hours. So the disruption is fairly limited during the project. We do like to hold public meetings as we're planning these projects. So we're right now developing our list for 2020. When that list is approved by the Board of Public Works and Common Council, we'll be sending out mailings to property owners that their street is coming up for some repair work next year. And then over the winter, we like to hold a meeting or two with property owners to let them know about the scope of the project, understand any special needs that property owners might have as we're working in front of their property, whether that's involving sump pump connections or downspouts or difficult access situations that we need to address, changes in culvert length or driveway configuration. We'd like to get all those things figured out ahead of time so when we get to do the work, we're not trying to second guess some of those types of things. Question we get often is what will this cost me if my street's going to be done next year? What should I expect? The property owner is responsible for the cost of a new culvert. So if your culvert needs to be replaced, that would be 100% of the property owner's cost. Property owner also does pay a share of the asphalt driveway that goes over the top of the culvert, and that share is dependent upon the condition of the asphalt on your driveway. If you just put your driveway in recently and it's still in like new condition, then the city covers the cost of that replacement. If your asphalt driveway over your culvert has been in there for years and it's really deteriorated and it has no life left, then you'll pay 100% of that driveway replacement cost. And then it's a percentage in between based on the condition of that driveway. Average condition would be, and that's what most people have, is an average condition driveway. You'd pay 50% of that cost, and the city or the project would cover the other 50%. And then there is an assessment for a portion of the street paving cost as well. So in the end, property owners can figure on spending anywhere between $1,500 and $2,500 per property, depending on several factors, including how wide and big your driveway is. That drives the cost of the culvert and the driveway approach, and then how wide your lot is. The cost for the street paving is based on how many feet of frontage that a property has. So again, somewhere in the range of $1,500 to $2,500 per foot. And as we have these public meetings throughout the winter, you'll get better numbers on what you can expect for an estimated assessment. So once you get your bill for the street assessment, which normally comes the following winter, so for instance, the 2019 projects, those folks could expect a bill for their assessment probably in March or April of 2020. Then you have 60 days to pay it interest-free. If you choose to go on the payment plan, then you could have up to 10 years to pay that off. And that would be billed annually along with your tax bill. There would be an interest charge on that if it's not paid within the 60 days. But you have an option then to pay some or all of it right up front, and the remainder, if any, over a 10-year period. So the second component of our asphalt paving program is asphalt overlays on concrete streets. And we've had a couple of them this past year, 2019. The first one we did was on Upham Street from Central Avenue up to Oak Avenue past Grant School. In that case, we did some of the concrete patching work last year, and then we just came in this year and did the asphalt overlay on that street. Another one we did this past season was 17th Street from Central Avenue to Maple Avenue, short block there. That one was a little bit different than the Upham Street project in that we actually removed the old concrete from between the curb and gutter and just put new asphalt down then. The reason for that is back when many of our concrete streets were paved in the 70s and 80s, the standard was that anytime we put curb and gutter down, the city would put concrete pavement between the curb and gutter. Now we've kind of reserved the concrete, the more expensive concrete pavement for our truck routes only where we need a stronger pavement. We've had good luck with asphalt pavement between the curbs, and so in some of these concrete streets that are no longer truck routes, we're putting asphalt pavement back in between the curbs, and that's had good results for us. That project was started earlier in the spring, and because it was a short project, was finished fairly early. I don't have the final costs in on that project yet. Okay, so another component of our street improvement program is street reconstructions, and we don't do as many of these as we used to as dollars have gotten tighter, but we did have a major reconstruction project in 2018, which was our East 29th Street project from Washington Avenue to Veterans Parkway. That was a total reconstruction of a concrete street, which involved removal of all the concrete, repairing and or replacing much of the underground utility infrastructure with some water main replacements, sanitary sewer, storm sewer replacement, and then new base on the entire project, base materials, new concrete pavement, curb and gutter, and added quite a bit of sidewalk on that street. All told, that project had an estimate of about $3.5 million. We haven't gotten all the final costs in yet, but we believe it'll be coming in under budget. And in that case, we received some state and federal funding on that through the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, with 80% state and federal funding, 20% local funding. So that's about the only way we can afford to do a major project like that, nearly a mile worth of reconstruction at that cost. But that street was in desperate need of it. Serves our industrial park on the east side, some very heavy truck traffic on it, and needed a reconstruction. Also in 2018, we did some work on Hume Avenue north of Becker Road, reconstructed a block of that, and then extended that street up to the tennis courts by the high school, and that street is serving a couple purposes now: better access to the tennis courts, but primarily it was put in to serve new residential multifamily development that's being constructed east of the high school. In that case, the developer contributed to some of the sewer and water extension costs there. And of course, that street is available for future extension as development would occur further to the north. Looking ahead to 2020, we have a major reconstruction project on the list, and that is Cleveland Street from Central Avenue to Daggy Street. There's a couple of sections there. We have a need for replacing sanitary sewer. The water utility wants to replace and upsize their water main. Often when we get in on a project like that, the gas company wants to come in and replace their gas facilities through their underground gas lines. And then when we reconstruct the street, we will continue curb and gutter all the way to Daggy. Right now, curb and gutter only goes from Central Avenue to Walnut, but we will extend curb and gutter all the way through to Daggy Street. Sidewalk will be replaced, and so we'll have a brand new street there that's driven by a combination of things. As I said, the utility work is the major factor, but the street is in poor condition as well, and we do have some drainage issues in the area which we will be able to address with this project. We expect the project to be bid out in early 2020. Our engineering staff is already working on the design for that. We'll likely have a meeting with property owners yet this fall to bring them up to speed on the project and get their input. And then we're hopeful construction can start as soon as spring weather allows in May of 2020. A project like this will take most of the summer, so it would probably be by this time, early fall or so next year, when the project would be completed. Right. So as I mentioned, the bus tour this fall, we toured about 40 different projects around the city. We will plan on doing the bus tour next year again. We'd like to get it in right near the end of the construction season, so right around Labor Day. We always have room on the bus, so if people want to kind of note it on their calendar to give us a call as it's approaching in next August, we can get you on the list to join us on the bus tour. It always is eye-opening for folks to see just how many projects we have going on and how much work has been done on our streets in the last several years. There's always more that can be done, but we are making good progress on our street condition, and I believe it's starting to show, and we've made a lot of great strides in improving our streets. So.
Well, again, I want to thank you for joining me, Tom Laux, Communications Director for the City of Marshfield, on my show Connections. Each week, Monday through Friday, this program airs on cable television as well as on our website. If you have ideas that you want in this newsletter, please call me. If you have ideas for things that are outside the city government, I can help you with that as well. That's part of Marshfield Media Access, which is a division of our communications department. I provide a show on that as well called Spotlight. So if you're a nonprofit or a big event that's going to help others out in the community, contact me. If you're a business, contact me. I can get you on Experience Marshfield with the mayor. That's another local program that we do here at Marshfield Media Access. And another show that we have, Don Nystrom, which is a producer slash host here, been here for many, many years. He has his show Up Close, which is usually about county initiatives, but if you'd like to get on his program as well, give me a call and I can set that up. So again, thank you for tuning in to our program on Channel 991, as well as our websites, marshfieldmediaaccess.org, as well as our city, ci.marshfield.wi.us, ci.marshfield.wi.us. And again, tune in next time on Monday for the next edition of Connections.